Welcome to our Monday, August 26th Facebook Live, where we're talking about time in versus time out. Now, I jumped on a few minutes early, actually a minute early, because I want to make sure the comment section is working. So, if it is, oh, I see comments. Here we go. It's down below. I want to move it over to the side. Anyway, okay, so good. Okay, say hello and let us know where you're from. So the comments section is showing it's down below for me. And let me see if I can move it over to the side. Pop out. There we go. Let me see if I got it. Did I get it right? Oh, I popped it out and now I can't see you guys again. Why do I keep doing that to myself? Okay, I'm back. Anyway, I'll try to look at your comments. Anyway, welcome. Good evening. No, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have people from all over the world that join us for these. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Say hello, tell me where you're from. And if let me just tell you this, if I do not get to your comments right now during the session, because these are only 30 minutes, then I always go back immediately after or later on in the afternoon and I answer all those comments or questions that you might have. This live will post to my website, to my page, Pamela Palanza. It will post there usually about 5 minutes after the conclusion of the video. And I also post it on my Facebook page, which is PamelaPalanza.com. So you can always find those there. So you don't have to scroll through all of my reels and posts to find it, especially if you want one from a couple months ago. So before we get started, at the beginning of every session, if you're new here, I always do quick announcements. So I want to start with by saying thank you for those of you who purchased the Managing Behaviors, A Common Sense Approach ebook, where we talk about discipline versus punishment, accountability, and consequences. 30 copies have sold so far, so thank you all for that. And if you are interested in buying one, I suggest you do it now before Thursday, because Thursday the price goes up to the normal price, which will be $3 additional. So grab it now. You can get it on my website. So I'm excited about that. And I'm really excited about our Common Sense Parenting with Pam Facebook group. So I started that group about a week and a half ago, and we have almost 500 members in that group. And the reason I started that was in my reels and also in Messenger. You're going to laugh at me about this one. I didn't realize in Messenger that I was getting messages in my spam folder. I didn't even know it was a thing. So I got a lot of questions in there, and I just don't have the time to answer all of those. So by starting the Common Sense Parenting with Pam group, and which is a private group, by the way, it is free. You have to ask permission to be admitted. And if you do that, I check out your profile on Facebook or whatever, and then I'll admit you if I think you're legit. And it's open to parents, grandparents who are raising children or even not raising children, but they just want to kind of understand parenting in this kind of age that we're in now. It's open to teachers of child care centers or elementary schools and support staff of those facilities. We even have bus drivers, elementary school bus drivers, who say, hey, I want to come on here and learn more about, parenting. So great. You're all welcome. Just go on. I think the link should be in, oh, good. I'm seeing some comments here. Hey, Tiffany. I'm seeing some comments here, and it should be in there that you can go on. Let me see if it showed. Yes, you can join our Facebook group. Perfect. It's on there. Hello, Heather. Let me see. Rebecca, Jasmine. I don't know where Boracay is, if I'm pronouncing that right, Jasmine. That's awesome. Karen, we see Karen on here. Let me see who else I can find. Because, yay, I'm actually able to see comments. I'm so happy. Now, if I could just figure out how to get them on the side. Tiffany from West Virginia. Okay, here we go. I can move it up a little bit. Okay. Christina, hi. Dawn, hello. Good. Karen, thank you. Thanks for making me a bit better parent. Oh, you are welcome. Let me just say, I love doing these. And I'm very, if you saw my reel that I talked about, I'm just very direct and very to the point. I don't sugarcoat anything or beat around the bush. And sometimes people get offended by that. And if that's the case, I'm sorry. But I'm not trying to be condescending. I've been accused of being condescending or judgmental. Not at all. I just state what I feel is my opinion. And I tell people all the time, you you can take it or leave it. And I agree to disagree. And I'll even put like a heart, because I put hearts on everything. I love the interaction. And so I don't delete people for disagreeing with me. I welcome that. I welcome opposing views. What I will delete you for and block you for is if A, you're a troll, or B, they're nasty, hateful comments or political rants or comments that have nothing to do with the topic. So then I delete those. So, but when you join our Common Sense Parenting group, what's really cool about it is you can put up a question, and then not only I can answer it, but other parents can give you their points of view, because everybody parents kids differently, right? There's all different kinds of ways to parent your children, and so you have to do what works best for you. And so I love the fact that somebody puts up a question and then immediately they're getting responses. So same thing, you can take it or leave it, but at least it's giving you some kind of input on parenting ideas. Okay, so we're going to talk about time in versus time out today. And this is a really easy way for you to understand the difference. Time out is for you, and I'll explain that in a minute. Time in is for your child, okay? And there's a difference in this. So let me back up here for a minute and tell you that for 40 years, I've been in the child care industry. I've been a teacher, consultant, trainer, all kind of good stuff. I was a national speaker. Okay, so part of my job for 20 years of that was going into child care facilities in 2 different states, 7 different counties, and we would get people ready for state assessments. Now, in North Carolina, it's called the STARS. Okay, North Carolina STARS. Other states, it's called something similar, but basically what it is, it's a voluntary quality program that you can say, I want to participate. I want my center to be like 5 stars, which is the best. So we would go in, and over the course of 20 years, I'd say I probably was in 500 classrooms, and that's kind of a low estimate, but we'll round it to 500. Okay, 500 classrooms from infants on up to the 4-year-olds, getting kids 5 ready to go to kindergarten. So we would literally go in and sit for 3 or 4 hours and just assess everything. So help them improve quality, help them maintain it, and we did this for 20 years. Absolutely loved it. But I will tell you, what I saw in almost every single classroom, with the exception of infant rooms, and there was an exception there, and toddler rooms, I would see time out. It would be literally sometimes a center. You'd have the art center, the book center, you'd have the timeout center. I saw benches, timeout. It's like they were announcing it. I always joked around like be a neon sign flashing, timeout, timeout. Okay, so I would see that a lot. But invariably what I saw was it being used inappropriately and ineffectively. Now let me tell you, we were in an infant room one time, and I know I'm talking to parents here, so you might be a preschool teacher, you might be a parent needing this for your home, but let me just tell you, we walked in an infant room one time, and the cribs were on one side of the room, and on this side of the room there was a crib by itself, and there was a child in there. He was 10 months old, and we're looking around going, why is he in this crib over here? Clearly it wasn't in the nap area, and so we asked the teacher, why is this child over here? And she said, he's in timeout. Yeah, 10 months old. Okay. Anyway, here's why I have a problem with timeout. Now, for you, as a parent or a teacher, I have no problem with you taking a timeout. Now, that's why I said it's for you, okay? Because as a teacher, because I did teach, I had a family child care home. I taught in a school for children with special needs, a preschool. I did teach. There were times I needed a timeout. I needed to just take a break for a second, right? Now, not all the time, but there were times, and as a parent, you might need a timeout sometimes. So as long as we were in ratio and we had enough staff to cover all the children, we could tap out and say, hey, I just need a break. I need a break. Took a timeout. If you are a parent at home and you're ready to lose your mind because your kid is pushing every single button you have, and today your buttons aren't really working well anyway, and you need a break, that's when you take a timeout, not your child, you. So here's what you do. Now, I am not a proponent of devices. However, I'd rather you put your child in front of the TV for 15 minutes or on an iPad for 15 minutes, something educational, Well, you can step out of that room. You can still see your child and know they're nearby. You step out. You go sit down, put your head in your hands. I mean, if you have to go in the bathroom, shut the door and cry for 10 minutes, or you just want to sit and have peace and quiet, or you want to have a cup of coffee, depending on time of day, you might want to have a glass of wine. Just remove yourself, get yourself calmed down, and then go back and deal with whatever the issue is. That is what I call effective timeout for you, not for the child. And I'm going to check these comments and see what else is coming in. Louisiana, hi Ashley, Heather, Linda. Okay, we have lots more coming in. This is awesome. Okay, so here's why I have a problem with timeout. Oh, from Guyana. Hi, hello, in Canada. This is awesome. Okay, here's why I have a problem with timeout. Timeout is not teaching your child anything. Timeout is not teaching. I'm all about teaching. Behavior management discipline is teaching. Putting a child in timeout, and let me just say this. This is not for toddlers, okay? Trying to put a toddler in timeout is like herding cats. Toddlers do not have the brain development to understand reasoning. So if you as a parent are saying to your toddler, you go sit over there in timeout, and they're going to get up, or they're going to laugh at you or run, and you have to chase them, and you try to make them stay in that timeout by physically holding them down, or it becomes this power struggle that isn't even appropriate. So I'm telling you, don't waste your breath. Don't put your child through that. You go take a timeout. Let your child go do something else for 5-10 minutes, whatever it is, okay? Now, for 3 to 5 year olds, time-ins are really effective. Same thing with a little bit older children. As they get even older, consequences are much more effective. You can also do the time-in with them. They have consequences. And with your teenagers, so there's lots of things you can do there. You're not going to time out a teenager, right? If they're getting disrespectful, you can send them to their room. Go to your room, and when you can calm down and be respectful, you can come back. But I don't call that a timeout. Timeout, typically, you'll hear people say, have them sit for 1 minute of the years of their age. No. Okay, because listen, when you tell a child, like a 3-year-old, go sit in timeout for 3 minutes because you're 3, and think about what you did. They're not thinking about what they did. They're thinking you're an idiot, you're mean, they don't understand what's going on. All they know is you're excluding them, and they don't understand why. You've not taught them anything. It's also shaming to a child. It makes them feel bad about themselves sometimes. And in child care classrooms, I can tell you the number of times where a teacher would go, time out, and all the kids would look around and go, Robert's in time out again, because the teacher did not have the skills in her toolkit to manage behavior effectively. The solution was time out, time out, time out, but not teaching the child anything. And if you have a child in timeout consistently a lot, then there's a problem with how you're managing behavior. Okay, so that's why I have a problem with timeout. It's not teaching, and I'm all about teaching so children learn so they can change behaviors, and you can learn how to manage behaviors better. Okay, teenagers, you can take away their car keys, you can take away privileges. One mom who's in our Common Sense Parenting with Pam group, and I asked permission to talk about this. She didn't respond yet. I don't think she saw it, so I'm not going to mention her name. But what she and her husband did, which I love it, I think it's brilliant. Their teenage daughter was being mouthy and disrespectful, so guess what they did? She was not allowed to go into her bedroom for a week. Creative. She could not go into her own bedroom for a week. Now, I don't know where she slept, couch, another room, I have no idea. But she could not go in, and her parents would go in and get her stuff, her clothes, her books, whatever it is she needed. And it took that happening once or twice, and she learned that having that room and her stuff is a privilege, and she needed to be respectful, and she needed to be appreciative of what she had. Okay, so I just wanted to toss that out there because I actually thought that was a brilliant idea, and I applaud that. Okay, let's talk about time in. Time in is talking to your child about what happened. Time in. You're going to sit down and have a conversation with them. Now, if your child is crying and screaming and just, losing it, trying to have a conversation and timing in is not going to work to having that conversation. The way you can time them in this case is you can say, you know what, I see you're having some issues staying calm right now, or I see you had problems following the rules today. You need to go chill for a little bit. And I always call it the chill space. You can call it calm corner, people call it soft space, whatever you want to call it. You have a space in your house or in your childcare classroom that is full of softness. It is books, it is stuffed animals, it's puppets. The kids can just go and sit there and calm down. Now, it has to be, if you're in a center, you're in a classroom, you have to be able to visibly see that child at all times so you can supervise. It can be a pop-up tent. There was one child one time in a classroom, a 3-year-old classroom. He had been a foster child. He'd been through a lot of trauma. He would get easily overwhelmed in the class and start acting out with behaviors. That's how he communicated how he was feeling. So what we did in this case is we created a separate little box for him. We took a cardboard box, like a refrigerator box. We cut it down to where the teacher could easily see in it, but that he felt like he was enclosed a little bit. And we had blankets in there and pillows and soft stuff. And at any point during the day that he felt he needed to remove himself from whatever was overwhelming him, he would just step into this box. Now, it was separate from another space we had for the other children. This was kind of his confined space where he felt safer and comfortable. Okay? So that's how that was handled. And the trick with this is, you don't say, you go over there and sit for 10 minutes and think about what you did. You say, I see you're having trouble following the rules today, or I see whatever happened. I see you're upset. Chill for a little bit. And whenever you feel like you're ready to come back and join the group, come on back. Or to your child at home, whenever you feel like you're ready to come back and play nicely, come on back. You don't make a big deal about it. There's no scolding. There's no shaming. You really misbehaved. You go sit in that timeout. I'm tired of telling you. None of that. You just say, you know what? You need to go chill. Okay? Like you go and chill when you have your timeout. Right? And you come back when you're ready. Same thing with your child. Now, they've gone. They've calmed down. They come back. And you sit down with them. Now, these are 3 to 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, whatever. And you say, let's talk about what happened. And you don't say, what did you do? Why did you do that? You say, let's talk about what happened. You want to tell me about that? And let's give you an example. Your 4-year-old could say, because he got mad at his brother, who's 2, and took his toy, which is 2-year-olds will do that, right? If it's yours, it's theirs. They want it, they're going to take it. So, here's an example. So, Tommy's your 4-year-old. Sammy's your 2-year-old. Sammy took a toy from Tommy. Tommy smacked Sammy. Now Sammy starts crying. So now you have a mad kid and you have a crying kid, right? So you can say to Tommy, Tommy, I see you're having trouble following the rules that we keep our hands to ourselves. You need to go chill for a little bit. He goes and chills. You deal with Sammy. You know, you comfort Sammy. 2-year-olds, you cannot use timeout for, or even time in. You just redirect. You redirect, use distraction. And in this case, you could have just a quick say, you know what? When he has a toy, it's his. That's all. You can just say, hey, that was Tommy's toy. He was playing with it. You needed to find something else. And that's it. And he's not even going to really care about that anyway. But at least start those conversations. Okay. So Tommy comes out of his chill space. You sit down with Tommy and you say, let's talk about what happened. And he said, well, I was playing with my toy and Sammy took it. And he's not going to tell you, and I hit him. And you go, okay, well, I saw you hit him. Or I heard you hit him. And he'll, yeah. Or because he took my toy. And you can say, well, I understand that that may have upset you, or you might have felt frustrated because he took the toy that you had. But hopefully you guys are hearing all this. But anyway, then you can just say, well, you could have gotten something else. Okay, so once you've like established what happened, maybe what he could have done a little differently, you can say, well, how could we handle this in the future? And so you lay out very clearly. And you talk about, well, how do you think that made him feel? I mean, you're telling me you felt angry and frustrated. I understand that, totally understand that. How do you think it made him feel when you hit him? Do you think it felt good? Do you think it hurt him? Because I heard him crying, so to me, that's a sign that he was unhappy and hurt. So how can we handle this in the future so that doesn't have to happen? And you don't make it this big, long, drawn-out conversation. It's not a therapy session. This is a quick conversation with your child. When I was growing up, there were 4 of us in the family. 2 boys, 2 girls, 2 years apart. And when we did something wrong, we were not yelled at, we were not spanked. And I mentioned this, I think, on another live. But my father would sit us down on the couch. We had to stop what we were doing. Everybody come together on the couch, and he would talk to us, and talk to us, and talk to us. Why did you do that? How do you think that person felt? How could you handle that differently? What should you have done instead? And sometimes it felt like hours we were on that couch. It was probably 15 minutes. But, we were kids. We wanted to go back out and play. And, literally we'd say, could you just spank us and let us go? We were so over it. But it taught us how to be empathetic. It taught us to think before we did things to people. It made us think about how that made them feel. Or we talked about, well, how could you handle differently? Right? So we learned a lot in those sessions. So I am all about teaching. We learned. And guess what else we learned? That we better be careful what we did, because if we did something wrong, we were going to go back to the couch and have Dad talk to us. We were getting our time in with Dad, right? But we were ready to go play. Okay, so that's the basic difference between timing and timeout. Timing is teaching. If you're timing out a child, saying go sit in the corner for 30 minutes or 5 minutes and think about what you did, that's totally ineffective. They're not learning anything other than, I have to sit here and I'm embarrassed, especially if they're in a childcare classroom and all the kids know what they're there for. You're being bad. Robert's being bad again. Let me tell you the story about Robert. This is sad. This child was in trouble so much in the classroom that one day we were going out to the playground. And so part of my job was also to inspect the playground. So I would follow the class out, and while they were out there playing, I would walk around and inspect the playground. Well, the teacher, for some reason, got a little bit behind us, and the children got out on the playground first. And there was this Rubbermaid tub full of balls and hula hoops and trucks. It's typical, you see that a lot. But before the teacher had gotten there, a couple of the kids had opened it and taken some toys out, and then put Robert in it. Now, I don't know if he got in himself or they put him in it, but they put the lid on it. And all of a sudden, I walk out in the playground, I hear this voice going, help, help. And I'm like, what the heck? And I lifted up, and there was Robert. Because the kids knew Robert was always in trouble. They put him in timeout in the tub. How humiliating for that child. How shaming for that child. And it was because the teacher didn't have the skills she needed. And I'm not judging her. I'm not criticizing. I'm saying, put some tools in your toolkit so you can manage classrooms and your children at home effectively. And let me just talk here a minute about what do you do when you're on the road? Because people go, what do I do? What do I do when I'm on the road? So here's what you do. If you're driving and your child is out of control, and which can be distracted, can be dangerous, here's what I suggest. You pull over. You sit in the car, you don't say a word to your child, you just pull over. And they're going to be like, what's going on? Why did we stop? And you can just say one time, when you are in control, we'll drive again. Okay? That's one option. The other option is, and we did this with our child. He was 12 at the time, and I had two younger ones at that time. We pulled the car over on the side of the road. We got out. My husband and I and the two other kids got out. We turned our back on him. We kept the keys. Make sure you got the keys. And if it's hot, put the windows down. But we turned our back. And we just waited for him to get quiet. And when he got quiet, we got back in the car and we drove off. We didn't say a word about it. We didn't just yada, yada, yada. This is why we did nothing. We just drove on. That was the end of it. He never did it again. Okay? So we timed ourselves out. Right? We removed ourselves. We removed our children. And we just let him be in the car until he figured out he needed to calm us behind down. And he did. And it worked beautifully. Okay. We have 6 minutes left. So let me look down here. And see, okay, if any questions. Philippines, Arkansas, hello. I'm going to try to scroll this down a little bit. As I said, if I don't get all your questions in, I will definitely do that after. I've done that before. Okay. Hello, watching from Philippines. Hello from North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina too, Sharon. Pennsylvania, Anita, I'm originally from Pennsylvania. Okay, I put my kid in the corner and tell them they need to be still or the time will start aging. No. Nope. You time them in. You're not teaching them anything by doing that at all. Okay, Houston. Okay, toddlers shouldn't be timeout. Exactly, they should not be, ever. And people do that all the time, and I know sometimes it's just parents getting frustrated. And listen, I know I sit here and tell you what to do with your children. I raised four, I have 8 grandchildren. I've worked in childcare for 40 years. I have dealt with children, I taught them. I totally understand how hard this can be and how frustrating it can be sometimes. So that's why I share this with you, because I've been there. I've done it. I've seen what worked. I've seen what hasn't worked. I have a degree in early childhood development. So I come to you with my experience, what I've seen that was effective, what I've seen that wasn't. Maybe things I wish I had done differently when my children were little, right? I didn't spank my kids. I didn't yell at my children, but I didn't play, right? I had consequences and boundaries, and they had to be respectful and those kind of things. So I always say I was kind of a gentle parenting with a twist. At no point was I ever going to sit and have a discussion with my child when they're throwing a tantrum about how they can regulate. No, they're having a tantrum. We're ignoring it, and when you stop, we'll go on, right? So I think I'm a little bit, I wouldn't call myself a gentle parent. I would say I was authoritative, not authoritarian. I was authoritative. I didn't tolerate disrespect. Okay, my kid doesn't listen till I'm yelling. Okay, so what she has taught you, you have taught her that she doesn't have to listen to you until you yell. Okay? And I think I did a little way back. If you are to the point where you're yelling at your children, it's because the first time they didn't listen to you, you didn't instill consequences. So the first time they didn't listen, that's when you jump in and they have a consequence for not listening. Because if they don't, what they've learned is they don't have to until you lose it on them. And then they're like, what? What? I didn't do anything. And you're like, ah, you're like a screaming Mimi, right? You're losing it. I get it. I totally get it. Okay. I'm glad the videos are helping. Okay, the only time I put my child, okay, so the 7-year-old going in timeout when he doesn't listen to his teacher at school is not teaching him anything. He needed to have consequences at school for not listening. That's the teachers, could have handled it there, however they choose to handle it. By the time he comes home for you, it's like such a separation of time. What you need to do is talk to him about how he needs to behave in school, what he needs to do. You can have him write a letter to the teacher apologizing. You can tell him what his expectations are. Your expectations are for his behavior at school. And if he doesn't behave when he comes home, he will have consequences at home. He won't be just put in timeout because he's not learning anything. What are the consequences? Here's what you need to do. Tell him what he needs to do. Role play it with them. But then when he gets home, if he continues to not listen, you tell him very clearly, here's what happens. When you go to school, I expect you to listen to your teacher. And if you don't, when you come home, this is what's going to happen. And whatever it is happens. But putting him in timeout is not teaching him anything. Okay. Which repeats. Okay, Christina, you'd have to tell me more about what the bad behavior is. So let me tell you something. If you guys have questions here and I can't get to them all in here, you can also join our group and put them in there. And I did not know that in Messenger I had a spam section, and I found tons of questions in there from people I didn't even know. I mean, some were like 2 years ago. So just join our group and feel free to answer questions. But when you put questions in here or in the Common Sense Parenting with Pam group, be really specific. Like give us how old the child is, any backstory. So that helps me come up with better solutions. Okay, Philippines, let's see. Consistency is the key. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're so right, Christina, Linda. Consistency is absolutely the key. Okay, we talked about timeouts for 1 minute per age. Stop doing that. Stop. Time them in instead. Okay. Okay. So 72 passenger school bus, K to 12. Sometimes, okay, that's ridiculous. I don't know what your school policy is. I know you pull it over. I don't know if they can put an 8 on the bus for you. I don't know if they can tell parents if their kids don't behave, they can't ride the bus anymore. They lose the privilege. That would be the first thing I would be telling parents. If your child's not behaving, they're not riding the bus. So I don't know how that happens in your school district. It's unsafe. It's unsafe for you. It's unsafe for the other children on the bus. So there needs to be some kind of immediate consequence for that, whether they can't ride the bus or not. That might be it. I don't know. Anybody else have any ideas? Throw them out there. Oh, good, Sharon. I'm glad you're on. Okay. Wow. What would you give for advice for a child that stole gum at the store and you found out once you walked out of the store? I would turn around and make him take it back immediately. If he started chewing the gum, I would make him have to do, if he's old enough, depending on the age, If he has an allowance or he has money for birthdays, he would have to pay for. He would go back in the store and pay for it. My son was 3. I do have a YouTube page, by the way. My son was 3. We were in a Potter outlet place. Change came down in a soda machine, and he was 3 and get home halfway home, and he's like, "Look, mommy, I found this." I turned the car around, made him go back and hand it back to the lady. I made him give her the money, and she's like, "Oh, he can have it." I said, "No, he can't. It's not his. No, you nip that in the bud immediately. It might be inconvenient for you to have to turn around. You turn around, you go back, you make him tell them, I took this without paying for it, and I'm sorry, and apologize, and then you might have to pay for it at that point if he's already gotten into it, but then you make him pay you back." Okay? Really do about a 6-year-old and 3-year-old telling granddaughter that I hate them. Okay, I'm not sure about that. If someone's telling your grandchildren that you hate them, I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what to tell you on that one. I need more of a backstory on that one. Need to worry if my son is too naughty. Rain, it depends how old he is. It depends how old he is. If he's young, if he's 2, they tend to just be a little bit ornery sometimes, not always. And that's just part of their age, and you just have to learn how to manage that. I would need to know more about what you consider naughty or his behavior. If you join our group and put that question in there, we can answer it there. Okay? Tammy, I did say, yes, I do have a YouTube. It's under Pamela Palanza. Oh, he's 8. You're telling me he's 8 years old. Okay, you need to start instilling consequences. If he's continually not listening to you, you need to be instilling consequences, being firm and being consistent with him. Okay. Document daily what child does. Yes, that's good for her. What's the best app for cell phone oversight? Bark for a 13-year-old. Yes, somebody told me, my neighbor up the road was telling me something called, maybe it's Brick. He called it Brick. I've heard of Bark, but definitely you need to be monitoring your kids' cell phones. Absolutely. Absolutely monitor your kids' cell phones. And we're going over a little bit here, but I'm going to go ahead and see if there's any other questions. I just put up a post probably half an hour ago, right before I jumped on. My brother from Florida had sent me, their sheriff's department put out all these apps that you need to be careful of for your children. Discord was one of them. Obviously TikTok, Instagram were on there. Roblox. I know a lot of people let their kids play Roblox, but pervs get on there and troll for kids and groom them on there. I would be very, very careful on there. So it just is warning parents. So check that out on my post. All right. I am going to go. What do you do about a grandchild 6 and 3 telling the grandma that they paid her and to go home? Pat, I don't know what that means. Please go in our group and put that up there in more detail for me. All right. I know that was quick. That was a down and dirty and time in versus time out. I hope it helped. And please feel free to join our group. And if there's any other questions that come up on here, I will be sure to answer those. And this should be up on my website probably no later than this afternoon, tomorrow morning. Okay? It's been good seeing you all and helping you all and talking to you. And remember, don't want to end it yet. Remember, hug and love your babies.